I told you, but you didn't want to listen. You didn't want to listen to Uncle Casey. You thought you knew better. I am a television executive. Why in the hell would I listen to some dumbass YouTuber? Yeah, well, this dumbass YouTuber was right. Have you ever been to the car lot with the intention of staying within your budget and buying a used car? If you're really smart, you're paying for that used car up front with cash because you already know that the quickest way to remain in the middle class, handcuff yourself to a car note. But you get to the car lot, you find the used car that you want, and the salesman, he convinces you to look at the upgraded model, the newer model. Come on, it'll be fun. You don't have to buy it, you can just test drive it. You test drive the new car. It's full of luxuries, full of amenities that you don't need and will never use. Seems to drive a little bit smoother. It's nice and shiny. Some would even call it polished. Not only do you change your mind and buy the new car, you end up overpaying for it. 6 months later, you are living with regret because you bought a polished turd. You overpaid for a depreciating piece of metal that you can't even drive because you can't afford the damn gas. And you can't afford the gas because you're paying $1,000, $1,200 every month for this overpriced turd to sit in your driveway. According to the Wall Street Journal, this is how executives at NBC feel about their decision to enter into a deal with the feminine devil. Who knows? Perhaps her name is Joy, or maybe even Alice. But according to the Wall Street Journal, NBC, they are feeling ripped off. They feel like they overpaid for the NBA. And the reason they feel that way is because they did. But all they had to do was listen to Uncle KC. All they had to do was listen to the dumbass YouTuber who has been saying for years, do not overpay for this turd. But the peacock refused to listen to the thundercock. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channel in the description below. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe to the main channel. It's not hard to figure out why NBC is feeling ripped off. Not hard to figure out why they regret their decision. Not only are the ratings god-awful in the NBA, the product is god-awful. You can't have both. It would be one thing if your ratings were in the pooper, but you're presenting a quality product. With a little bit of marketing, maybe putting the machine behind a relatable star. If you're presenting a quality product, you always have a chance to improve your ratings. Problem with the NBA, their product is garbage. Tuesday night, Mavs Thunder, TNT. It was the knockout round for that doofus NBA Cup that veteran teams really don't give a shit about. First half of the game, the Thunder, they shot 30 threes. They put up 33-point attempts in 24 minutes. But KC, it's because these players are so skilled. This is the most skilled generation in the history of the NBA. Yeah, I keep hearing that, and it's true, but skill does not equate to ratings. Skill does not mean you're entertaining. Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, they're considered to be the most skilled performers in the history of professional wrestling. There has never been and never will be a better performer than Shawn Michaels. In his prime, dude was untouchable. There wasn't anyone on the planet that could touch him. But as skilled as they were never on the same level as the biggest stars in the business. Hogan, Austin, Rock, Cena. In terms of wrestling actual matches, in terms of skill and technical wrestling, those guys sucked. Austin was hampered by injuries. Hogan wrestled the same match every night over and over. Rock and Cena, they were never the greatest technicians, but they knew they didn't have to be because they could literally talk you into the building. The Rock, he could just stand there silent and convince you to spend $50 to watch him on pay-per-view. This might be the most skilled generation of players in the NBA, but they're also the most boring. There is nothing exciting about watching a three-point shooting contest. There's nothing exciting about watching 10 dudes do cardio for 48 minutes. You know why foot races in the Olympics are short? Because they know no one wants to sit around for 2.5 hours and watch people run around in circles. I'll say the same thing about the NBA that I've been saying recently about cable news, and I've been saying this about the NBA for years too. You can blame cord cutting, you can blame attention spans, you can blame viewer fatigue, but the problem with the NBA, they refuse to put the blame where it actually belongs. They refuse to look in the mirror and blame themselves. Outside of the NHL, which, hell, I can't even say the NHL is struggling to draw flies to a fresh turd. The NHL, they are struggling to even create the turd for the flies to ignore. NHL ratings are worse than ratings in the WNBA dump before they had Caitlin Clark. But outside the NHL, the NBA is the only league that is struggling to grow their audience. UFC, growing. College football, growing. Major League Baseball, growing. The NFL's doing okay. Their ratings are up overall, but that's mostly due to the fact that viewership is growing locally. The NFL is struggling in these national windows, but whatever. Their ratings are still up. The NBA's lost half their audience in the last 10 or 12 years. Ratings for the playoffs last year, down 12%. The last 5 NBA finals have been the least watched in the history of the league. This is why TNT was hesitant to renew their deal with the NBA. If I had to guess, TNT was starting or either has been losing money on the deal, and that was with their current deal. If you add the unrealistic increase, TNT, they were probably looking at losing tens of millions, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. TNT took a lot of shit for losing the NBA. They were criticized for settling for college football and college basketball games that no one cared about. But looking at it now, maybe they're in a much better position than NBC. Gotta remember, NBC doesn't need the NBA. NBC has wall-to-wall programming every night. They didn't need this dump of a league. But if you're TNT, I would much rather broadcast some doofus college basketball game between Duquesne and Southeast Horny Toad than some doofus regular season game between the Lakers and the Rockets. Why? The audience for college basketball might be significantly smaller, but so is the price tag to broadcast it. At least I have a chance to make money broadcasting college basketball. With the overpriced NBA, I don't have a chance. Give me your thoughts on this. Wall Street Journal is reporting that NBC feels like they overpaid for the NBA. Was this a bad deal for NBC? You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you on the main channel.